Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, in the comment section of the last video that I did, listen, I've been on YouTube for a while now, and obviously you get people come back and forth that call you biased and say all these type of things. And I've stated in several videos, right? Everybody knows that I make it quite clear that I'm an Amir Khan fan, but that doesn't mean that I'm biased towards him, or I'm biased in the sense that if I favor him, I support him, but at the same time, I try to keep it as real as possible. And if you don't know that by now, right? And here's the thing, because you know that I'm a Khan fan, I've openly said it to you. You kind of automatically assume the things that I say about someone like Kell Brook or Terence Crawford is that I'm hating. Now, I've been accused of being a Kell Brook hater, a Crawford hater. Now, I'm going to address both of these fighters, right? Firstly, I'm going to talk about Kell Brook. I hate on Kell Brook because I'm a Khan fan and this, that, and this, that. The fact is, I don't ever think I've said anything biased in the sense that I've always stated facts, right? When I say that Amir Khan's achieved more than Kell Brook, right? Firstly, I want to talk about one of my subscribers, who's been on the grind on YouTube. I don't know if I don't know if you're a subscriber. I don't actually know, because I don't know who's subscribed to my channel, but I see you comment on my channel, especially when I talk about Brook. It's SF2X Plus, right? I hope I've got that name right. But I've seen you on YouTube. I've seen you commenting on YouTube 11, 12 years ago on video. So you're obviously somebody that's been on the YouTube scene for a very long time. 11, 12 years ago, I probably didn't even know what YouTube was. I'm only 28 years of age. So 11, 12 years ago, I saw you comment on a Khan video and you didn't say anything negative. You was actually just a positive comment. So from what I know, that you've actually been a boxing fan for a very, very long time. So respect to you that you've been on the grind and hustle for such a long time. And the fact that you're a Brook fan, you're entitled to be a Brook fan. That's not a problem with being a fan of any fighter. And you openly admitted that you're a Brook fan, right? But you say to me a lot of the times that I'm pushing a biased narrative about Khan and I'm always favoring it. But you're doing exactly the same thing with Kell Brook. Because if you're not willing to accept that what I'm saying is a fact, then surely you can accept the fact that even if you're a Brook fan, right? And most Brook fans will accept it, that haven't got, I don't mean this in disrespect, got his head stuck up his arse. The fact that Amir Khan has had a more successful career than Kell Brook as a boxer, right? Amateur and pro, he's had a more successful career. Forget about who's done more at 147, his most wins came out. As a boxer, his career in boxing has been more successful than Kell Brook. I'm not stating anything biased there. It's a fact, right? Whether you think Kell Brook would have beaten Khan, that's an opinion, right? In my opinion, again, I'm saying the truth here of what I feel. Right now, if Kell Brook fought Amir Khan, I favor Kell Brook massively to beat Amir Khan, right? However, if both of those guys had fought in their prime, right, I would have slightly favored Khan, but I accept the fact that Kell Brook could have beaten Amir Khan. He was a threat to Amir Khan. I accept that. The problem I have with Brook fans and some of the delusional Brook fans is that they're not willing to accept that Amir Khan was a threat to Kell Brook. And they feel that if Kell Brook would have hit him with one shot, he would have put him out. And that's the delusion. That's the delusion. Because that's when you start overrating Kell Brook and making Kell Brook out to something he's not. And something that he's never shown in his career. He's never shown in his career that he's something out of this world. Because if that was the case, he would have beaten Errol Spence, right? He would have beaten Errol Spence. So what I'm saying to you is that Kell Brook was a good fighter, but when you start talking delusionally, like just assuming that Kell Brook would have destroyed Khan in his prime, then we have a problem. When you start assuming that Kell Brook would have destroyed Devin Alexander, we have a problem. Because Devin Alexander, again, is another fighter who's achieved more than Kell Brook. Are you going to argue that with me as well and say he's not achieved more than Kell Brook? Devin Alexander is a 2-weight world champion. He's probably achieved more than Amir Khan. Even though Khan beat him, he's probably achieved more than Amir Khan. Amir Khan's not a 2-weight world champion. He's a unified champion, and Alexander was never a unified champion. Khan was a unified champion at the 114. Probably the best guy at 140 pounds at one point in his career, right? And I think you'll all agree that Bradley ducked Amir Khan, right? So, what I'm trying to say is that by me stating these things doesn't make me biased towards Kell Brook. I'm one of the only guys that have said that I think Brook has got a chance against Crawford in the first 6 rounds. Most British fans think this is a joke fight, right? So how am I being biased when I'm saying I think Brook has a chance against Crawford, when most YouTubers, when most fans think this is a joke fight? They don't even think Kell Brook should be in the ring with Terence Crawford right now. So when I say I pick Crawford by KO late on, why does it hurt you so much? Why does it hurt you so much when I say Khan's achieved more than Kell Brook, when you know that he's achieved more than Kell Brook? I'm not being biased there. I'm stating the obvious. I'm stating the obvious, right? This isn't me having a dig at Kell Brook or trying to put him down or being a hater. I'm not a Kell Brook hater. I'm not a hater of any fighter. I don't dislike Kell Brook. I don't dislike Terence Crawford. Just because I'm not a fan of theirs, that doesn't mean I dislike them. I'll say it how it is. I've just said to you, I think Kell Brook would beat Amir Khan if they fought right now. But if you think that Kell Brook would have destroyed Amir Khan and Amir Khan was never a threat in his prime to Kell Brook, then you're the delusional person, not me, right? Because to me, you're overrating Kell Brook to make him out like he's some kind of monster. Just like a lot of his fans tried to make out like Sean Porter was some killer. The same guys that drew to Julio Diaz. The same guy that's been beat by Thurman. That was lucky against Garcia. That should have lost against Ugas. That got beat by Spence. And that Brook beat him as well. But you tried to make out like Sean Porter's a Hall of Famer to make Kell Brook's win over him look fantastic. Again, Sean Porter's a decent fighter, but nothing more than that. He's no great. He's just a decent fighter. So when I say all these things, I'm not trying to put Kell Brook down. I'm just stating the obvious, that I haven't seen much from him. But the problem is, you want me to say something that I don't believe. I don't believe he would have destroyed Devin Alexander. I'm being real with you. I don't believe I believe Alexander would have been a problem. But the problem is that you guys just think Brook was some great, like Brooks Ali or something. Or Brooks Sugar Ray Leonard. He's not. What are we talking about? Are we watching the same guy? Because to me, I'm not watching the same guy, if that's the opinion you have. He's a good fighter. Yes, I'll give him that. But he's the same guy that got beat by Errol Spence. You know, up and coming guy that, in my opinion, if Brook was the real deal, should have beat him. But again, like I said to you, I'm not a Brook hater. I just feel like I'm stating, when I state things about him and Khan, I'm stating the obvious. It's a bit like you guys want me to say, right? It's like saying, you know, some guys got A levels, right? And some guys got a master's degree. It's a bit like you telling me to say the guy with the A levels is more intelligent than the guy that's got the masters. But what are you basing that on? The guy with the masters has clearly done better than the guy that's got the A levels. And that's a bit of like the situation with Khan and Brook. You keep telling me that Brook's better, but as an amateur, Amir Khan achieved more. As a pro, Amir Khan's achieved more. So I'm not being biased here. These are facts. These are facts, right? But in terms of them two fighting, I accept the fact that Brook, even in Khan's prime, could have beaten Khan, right? But the problem is, Brook fans are not willing to accept that Khan was a risk and a threat to Brook in his prime also. That's a problem that I have, right? Carl Froch, who doesn't like Amir Khan, never has. Even he admitted that Amir Khan could have beaten Brook. He felt that if the fight went to points, he favoured Brook, but he felt that if the fight went to points, Khan would win. And he said, I could see how Khan wins this fight, right? So even he was accepting the fact that Khan could win this fight, right? And the other thing is, right, if they both fought, just say when Kell Brook was world champion, right? 2015, I can't remember when he became world, 2014, right? Again, I guarantee you Khan would have been the bookies' favourite to win that fight. And majority of boxing fans around the 2014 period would have picked Khan to beat Brook. I'm not saying that there wouldn't have been fans that would have picked Brook. There would have been. But majority, right, if you had done a poll, majority of people would have had Khan to win that fight. And I guarantee you this, he would have been the bookies' favourite to win that fight. He would have been the bookies' favourite. I'm pretty sure you'd agree with me on that. He would have been the bookies' favourite to win that fight. That doesn't mean he would have won the fight. I accept that Brook was a risk. But are Brook fans willing to accept that Khan in his prime was also a risk and could have beaten Brook, right? Just because Khan, just say, so everybody has the narrative that Khan's ducked Brook, right? Okay, I'll give you that. Khan ducked Brook, right? That doesn't mean just because another fighter has ducked somebody that that makes Kell Brook automatically the better fighter, or means that Kell Brook would have won that fight. Because that's the narrative that a lot of Brook fans try to push. If that's the case, then Froch would have beaten Calzaghe. Junior Witter would have beaten Ricky Hatton. All three guys, Amir Khan, Calzaghe, and Ricky Hatton, in their primes, would have been favourites to beat their rivals. The guys that didn't have... So, Amir Khan had a way bigger name than Kell Brook. Calzaghe had a bigger name than Froch. And Hatton had a bigger name than Witter. In terms of the bookies, if those fights would have happened in around these guys' primes, the guy with the superior name would have been favourite, according to the bookies. And majority of fans would have had the popular guy, would have voted for the popular guy to win, right? That doesn't mean that Froch would have lost to Calzaghe, because I think that would have been a tough fight for Calzaghe. Personally, I think Calzaghe would have won, just like I think Ricky Hatton would have beat Witter, even though I think that might have been a very close fight. And Khan and Brook, another one, which would have been a very close fight. But I would have slightly edged towards Khan. That's my honest opinion. There's no bias there. Just like I'm telling you right now, if they were to fight, I believe Kell Brook beats Amir Khan. But when I'm giving my opinion, I'm being real. I'm not being biased about it. I'm giving you my honest opinion. I'm a fan of Amir Khan, but I've also said that I believe he would have lost to Mayweather, Pacquiao, guys like Miguel Cotto, Mosley. I feel they would have beaten Amir Khan, even in his prime. I'm being totally honest. And in terms of Terence Crawford, I get called, oh, you're a Crawford. Some people say, why do you dislike? I don't dislike Terence Crawford. I've never disliked Terence Crawford, right? I'm not a fan of his. Sometimes, we all have our own taste. I prefer Errol Spence. I just prefer his boxing style. I just prefer his swagger. I prefer, the way he speaks. I prefer him more than I prefer Terence Crawford. But that doesn't mean I dislike Terence Crawford. I accept that Terence Crawford's very skilled, very good fighter. I just prefer Errol Spence, right? But that's not me pushing a bias. Like, I generally believe that Errol Spence would beat him. It's not because I'm not a fan of Crawford and I'm a fan of Spence. That's why I'm pushing a biased narrative. No, I generally believe that Spence would destroy him. I think Spence would batter him. Just because I think his size, his strength, his physical advantages that he would have. Yeah, Crawford's more skilled, yes. But just the size and the strength and the chin, all of those things, and the fact that Crawford's been hurt by lesser guys than Spence, makes me believe that Spence would walk straight through him. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I hold my hands up. But I just say what I feel, what I see. I may be wrong. I have been wrong in the past. But that doesn't mean that I'm lying, or that doesn't mean I'm pushing a biased narrative. That doesn't mean I have anything against Kell Brook, or I have anything against Terence Crawford. I've never had anything against any fighter. I just say what I feel. And that's just an opinion. But there's certain things, when I say it, I feel they're facts. Like when I say Khan's had a better career than Kell Brook, I don't think really that's an opinion. I think that's a fact. I feel he's achieved more. But again, I'm not trying to push a biased narrative by saying that. Again, I feel that Kell Brook was a dangerous fight. Just for I feel like Crawford may outbox Errol Spence. He may, well, totally embarrass Errol Spence. But I don't think so. I think Errol Spence is too big and too strong at that weight for him. But again, I may be wrong. So I'm never ever trying to push a biased narrative. I'm just telling you what I feel. Now, if you're a Kell Brook fan and I'm telling you my opinion and you know I'm a Khan fan, you're automatically going to think that, yeah, I'm pushing a biased narrative. The same way if you're a Crawford, a Crawford fan, right? And you know I'm a fan of Errol Spence, and I'm saying something in like that Errol Spence will beat Terence Crawford, you're automatically going to think I'm being biased. But that's obvious. If I'm saying that I think a fighter is going to beat another fighter, his fans are going to say, oh, you're biased. You don't like Crawford. Or you don't like Kell Brook because you're a Khan fan or you're a Spence fan. That's not the case. I'm just telling you what I feel. Even if I was a Spence fan and I thought Crawford would beat him, right? It's the same way, just like I said that I think Kell Brook would beat Amir Khan right now. Even though I'm a Khan fan. I'm being honest, right? But you're the ones that are being dishonest because in yours, you're not willing to accept that a guy in his prime who achieved a lot more than the guy that you're supporting was a threat to him. When I'm openly saying that I believe he was a threat. So again, I think when all this bias stuff, I don't want to keep making videos about me trying to make out that I'm not being biased, because at the end of the day, you're going to believe what you believe. But I'm just telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth and what I feel. If you don't believe that, then you don't have to watch me. You don't have to listen to my opinion. But I'm just being honest with all of you that I'm just pushing. I'm basically telling you what I feel. There's no bias there. I'm just telling you how I see it. And now, if you don't agree with that, that's entitled to your opinion. I always tell you how I see it. There's no bias there. I tell you how I see it. That's it, basically. Not everybody will agree. Some people will agree. Some people will say I'm talking nonsense. You're entitled to your opinion. But again, I'm no Kell Brook hater. I'm no Terence Crawford hater. I respect what they've done. And I hope to see a great fight in November. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.